Horror, a treasured genre of storytelling. A flexible genre that can delve deep into our minds to play on our fears, even revealing fears we never knew we had. Its power to play to our fears has created some of the best media and horror icons that will be remembered for generations to come. From books, films, games, rides, art, horror has seen it all. Unfortunately, it's not always scary. Getting it wrong means that horror can be boring, dull, cheap, and if you're really bad at it, a joke of an experience. Now, I'm no story writing expert, or any kind of expert really, but what I do know about horror is that horror needs to be relatable to some degree, in order to make the audience imagine themselves in that situation. A simple example, spiders. I'm afraid of spiders.
Onto the lift, and we are going down. And we are going down swinging. Ew. Oh god, I had to look away. Oh god. Oh god, there's one right there. Fucking bastards.
So, imagine how uneasy I feel when watching a film about giant spiders. Fuck that noise right royally. Other fears people may have is the fear of the unknown, being alone, or the sense of going mad. That's what today's game implements in its story. This word, which I'm not entirely sure I'm pronouncing correctly, however there is a German word that's spelt the same which I'm going to be using.
Galerian.
Galerians is a 1999 PS1 title where you play as Rion, a psychic child who wakes up in a lab with no memory. Similar to the Resident Evil games of old, Galerians would have felt like a home away from home for horror game enthusiasts, especially since it was released around the time the original Nemesis game was. Perfect for those looking for a different feel to survival horror gaming. If you decide to play this game, be sure to put the right disc in first, as this game takes place across 4 of them. While you're at it, feel free to figure out if this giant emo blonde kid is a boy or a girl. This takes me back. Not the game, I haven't played this before, but this degree of graphics. Back in the 90s, this was cutting edge stuff, and really pushed the limits of the PS1 before the PS2 came out a year later. Of course, this was during an era where 3D humans looked weird. So you're going to see some ugly models and extremely smooth surfaces. Gameplay graphics, however, do differ. The character models do look a little stretched, but the graphics aren't bad given the time period. The backgrounds are easily the best part of this game, visually. The colour scheme of silver, white and grey has been used very well to create a sense of unease as you make your way through the areas. The opening cutscene flies us through a dystopian looking city to this building, while memories of the blonde emo, who is currently having a mildly uncomfortable sleep, flash before his eyes. It's revealed that we are at the Michelangelo Memorial Hospital, where HAL 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9000 live. Scientists are experimenting on the blonde emo, who we learn to be called Rion, as a voice in his head calls out for him to save her. This wakes him up just in time to watch himself be injected with Mountain Dew and Kool-Aid, which give him psychic powers and amnesia. Spoilers, you don't actually get the power to unscrew locks. This is a lie. While scientists are discussing the results, Rion escapes and you gain control for the first time. The game uses tank controls to move around, which as you can imagine makes it a little awkward to walk in a straight line sometimes. Holding square or L2 while moving allows you to run. Using X to interact with your surroundings, you find this conveniently placed note which explains your powers in detail. Lots of detail. Lots of detail. The short version is that it tells you what each of the powers you have do. Looking around the room, you also find 2 locked doors and a locked cabinet. Gee, if only there was a way to open them without a key. Well, thankfully it does work on one of the doors. Pressing triangle in certain situations allows Rion to sense. Using this power, he can use it to sense clues on how to progress, showing locations of key items or things to interact with. Or in the case of this door, a cutscene that opens the door for us. Don't rely on this trick to open doors though, as it rarely works. A cutscene plays as you leave the room. Rion is confronted by a scientist and Rion torches information out of it. We find out that the liquids that were injected to us were psychic power enhancement chemicals, or PPECs. To find out more, we're advised to find Clinic Chief Lem. Then, after the cutscene ends, Rion starts grabbing his head and went into this weird electro mode. I didn't know what was going on, but this scientist literally had his mind blown from it. I was also reduced to just a walking speed. Carrying on through the game, I found that whenever I got close to an enemy, heads would continue to explode, all the while my health kept dropping down. Needless to say, I felt powerful as fuck and was invincible. Until Rion dropped dead. In all honesty, I thought it was a scripted event. It turns out that I wasn't looking at the AP bar, or knew what it meant because there was no tutorials. Or possibly because the first note I saw I just teal-deered. In the top right corner you will see 4 bars. The first is your HP bar. We all know what this means. The second is the AP bar, which stands for action points, or in some cases, depending on who you listen to, anger points. When this bar fills, Rion enters what's called a short, in the same way something short circuits. While being in the short, you are powerful, but it will kill you if left untreated. Taking medicine called Delmator reduces the AP bar, but the bar fills slowly over time, and faster if Rion takes damage or uses his powers. The third bar is basically a ammo bar. Once it falls below a certain level, you can't attack. To refill it, you use PPECs you find lying around. The final bar is the charge bar. Using the R1 button, you charge up your psychic attacks and use L1 to target. The fuller the bar, the more powerful the attack. You start with 2 attacks, a push that is weak but can be used a lot, and a fire attack which is stronger but can't be used as much. So now I'm able to survive longer, thank you drugs, I can explore more. Pressing circle brings up a map, so I don't have to worry about getting lost. Kind of. The map isn't perfect. Rooms that you have visited are blue. Rooms you haven't visited are see-through, and the room you're currently in pulses. But it won't tell you which way you're facing or where exactly in the room you are, so you may be making the occasional wrong turn or pause as you try to figure out where you are. There is also no indication of which room is which. No names, no symbols, nothing. So trying to find a specific room may take a while. Really, a game like this needs a map like this. First thing I found though was a door that can only be opened with a keycard. If only I could solve this puzzle differently. Didn't take me long to find it though, as the card was in the same room as my first murder. Back at the card reader you can press select to open the menu and use the card. On the other side of the door we meet our first properly aggressive enemy, with questionable morals. Oh look at that, a young child wandering around scared and confused, better tase it! Combat in this game is a little flawed, but functional. Enemies act surprisingly human in that they act differently from person to person. One might edge towards you carefully to try and attack you, giving the impression they're scared and don't know what you're capable of, while others will rush you as to not give you a chance to strike first. It's a nice touch. They also don't attack rapidly, though this could be to get the player to actually have a chance to charge their attacks. Sound also plays a part in combat. Listening to the sound can tell you if an opponent has been killed or not. Blood puddle is also a dead giveaway. One issue you encounter though happens during group battles. Sometimes you'll be fighting at least 2 enemies, and while you can swap between them, there isn't an indicator to which one you're currently targeting. So enemies you hurt may end up being the wrong enemy and you get hurt by the one you were trying to hit in the first place. Which is why you may want to consider running from fights when you can. Once the 2 security guards are dealt with, we steal a key. Push a button to unlock a door, look in a mirror and raid their storage, of which there is a metric fuck ton of stuff. But only some of it is useful and annoying to find. Look at this scene. I'll give you 10 seconds, see if you can spot where an item is that I can pick up. Spot anything? Well, even if you think you did, you probably didn't because items are rarely obvious. Items don't sparkle or have any sort of indication of their location, so best way to find items is to hammer X over and over and over and over in order to search everything, because that's fun. Though in some cases, like in storeroom, you will find things that stand out and contain an item. In this case, a B-jet. You can't use it straight away, but once you find PPECs, you use this to regain some of your psychic power bar. There are no weapons, so most of the items you find will be keys, key items and pills. Few item types as there are, they are all important and you'll be happy anytime you find one. There is, however, nowhere to store them, so if you happen to find an item you can't pick up, Just hope you remember where you left it. In the next corridor, I had a giggle to myself as I noticed Rion looks like a robot when he walks. Continuing to search the hospital, we encounter a chair that we can use our sense ability on to reveal plot. It turns out Rion isn't the only child that's been experimented on here, and for whatever reason this girl decided to carve what is obviously a passcode into the wall. Be sure to write it down though, as Rion doesn't take notes. Maybe he forgot how to use a pen. We can use sense on it to reveal where we can enter the code, with the worst possible camera angle. Gee, I wonder where this non-distinct computer could be in this building full of computers. Let's hope we can find it. First though, let's head back to the first room and use a key we picked up to gain the liquid explosives and Delmator. It's also just dawned on me too. At this point I've been playing for 30 minutes. I'd hate to die to another one of Rion's temper tantrums and lose everything. How the hell do I save the game? Oh, like this. As you explore, you'll find these safe rooms that look like giant tanning rooms. Using the computer inside allows you to save the game. Thankfully though, you can use it as many times as you need. You may be looking at this game and wondering where the horror is. And if you are, I can see why. So far, the game looks like a slow mystery game with a dash of violence, and it doesn't look scary and nothing about the people here look frightening. So what makes this horror? Well, not all horror looks the same. While the game does look slow, the atmosphere gives off an eerie and unsettling vibe. The lack of music has you constantly listening out for danger. The empty environments make you question every corner, and though they are brightly lit, you never feel safe. And the enemies will sometimes enter off camera, so you might panic if you aren't paying attention. The kind of horror it's going for isn't one that plays on your fears, but rather a kind that plays on your paranoia and anxiety. It is true that it's a little slow, but it does pick up as the game goes on. Puzzles also play a part in this game too. We just found where we used the freezer key. Inside is a fuse we can take, but oh no, cold air is stopping us getting out the door. Thankfully, this machine that doesn't stand out in any way is the solution. Hey, what's this thing? Well, that was weird. Let's do it again. Once we exit the room, we can use it on the door that's just down the corridor to enter the room we started in. And I took the long way round to open that cabinet. Oops. Well, that sucks. Better turn around and see if I can find anything else. Oh, hello. So we got a new enemy now, and he's the hardest so far. Very aggressive and fast-ranged attack, though I feel he isn't quite sure what a gun is for. Also has the most health of all enemies too. Once I beat him, I noticed this shutter door. I didn't know how to open it until I used my sense on it and... aha! It's the cabinet from the starting room, where we got the liquid explosive. Let's splash that on there and set it on fire. Oh shit, I'm out of flame. And I don't have anything to reload it. May need to load the game. Take two! Fuck, that didn't work either. Maybe if I stay close? It was a cutscene, and I just had to use sense? Oh, god damn it. I just wasted fire. Take three! In the new area, we have our first encounter with Lem, and he is swole. We have a one-sided conversation where he orders us to go back to the isolation ward or our brain will short circuit if we carry on. Then he doesn't give us a chance to comply and then orders a lockdown. So after that few seconds of nothing, we unlock the door and keep exploring. Further in, we discover this giant TV with plot on it. The hospital is trying to make human clones that are designed for work in extreme conditions, known as Galerians. It said the thing! And that 5 of them have been successfully made. The plot thickens. At least it wasn't as long as that file was at the beginning. In the same room is a door that leads to this weird room full of giant fetuses. All we need is the key though, and after some aimless wandering I found 2 doors. The first was a keycard reader that needed a new security code. The second was unlocked by the key we just picked up. Inside is a computer that allows us to make a new security code. Maybe it's the number we saw on the wall, but Fuck if I remember what the number was. Wait, maybe I can use my sense to see the number in full. God damn it! I'm not running back for that. Google! So with the code rewritten, we use it on the correct door and... blood! That's always a good sign. In the storage room next to us, the voice calls out to us again. I do have to say though, this plot is slowly unfolding, but a little too slow. In writing terms, character interaction has come across as a bit hurried, and most of the time is uninformative. Information lacks in a lot of the cutscenes, and most of the time so far, it's been Rion saying,
"How long have I been here? Who are you?"
to the voice in his head. If another character is involved, they come across as one-dimensional, I'm the arsehole bad guy kind of character. Listen to the Lem and Rion conversation and you'll know what I mean.
Rion, where are you going? Do you really think you can escape?
Who are you?
I'm Lem, clinic chief of this facility. You are the most promising subject so far. Return to the isolation ward. Your brain will short if you continue to overdo it. You refuse to listen, eh? You leave me no choice but to terminate you. Secure the entire isolation ward and lock all security card slots. You have nowhere to run now, do you? You've deeply disappointed me, Rion.
Pro tip though, once this door is unlocked, head back to the nearest save point because... boss battle! Fire doesn't work on it, so you need to rely on your push to hurt it. It's slow as shit when walking and readying its gun, so charging up and attacking time is no issue, but if it does get close enough, it hurts. If you keep your distance, it dies easy. Also with the death, is the end of this video. Galerians is an overlooked game, but it is a good game. It's atmospheric, eerie, intriguing to play. It's got a few flaws to it, and its style of horror survival is specific, which could be a hit or miss for some audiences. But if you are a fan of the Resident Evil 3 original, then I think you will get some enjoyment out of this. So, now you've heard of it, would you play it? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching everyone, and remember you're always welcome at the Spectrum.